What's happening, guys? Sam Adams here, and welcome to a brand new episode of Caffeinate today for January the 28th of 2019. My name is Samuel Adams, and welcome to today's show. I hope that this one does find you well, and for those that are brand new to the program, this is a daily gaming news podcast where I bring you the hottest gaming news from around the industry and ensure that my audio is in fact looking pretty good, and I believe that it actually is. But for those that are brand new, welcome on in, and the show is hosted live on twitch.tv/The Samuel Adams 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time or thereabouts. Roughly. I have a life, you know. Not much of one, but it is there. With that being said, we've got some massive news for the day. Absolutely thick boy level of news. Metro Exodus is going to be an Epic Game Store exclusive for an entire year, according to Engadget. And this is something that is relatively controversial in the overall gaming community. So we'll talk more about that, what that means for where you might play Metro Exodus come time to actually play the game in just a couple of weeks. On top of that, a retail listing has suggested that Assassin's Creed 3 is going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch. Call of Duty is the best-selling console game franchise in the US for a 10th year in a row. Resident Evil 2's Remake is 3 times more popular than RE7 on Steam. We'll talk more about that as well. On top of Apple considering a game publishing / subscription service, and this is a report coming out very late in the day. Now, a model has said that Tencent used her likeness without permission in Ring of Elysium. We'll talk more about that debacle right now. And of course, it is your final chance to get Piranha Plant in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And of course, as we always tend to do, I have a funny story about a dude who fell asleep on stream while streaming on Twitch and had literally about 0 viewers and woke up to 200 people watching him sleep. It was hilarious and I enjoyed it thoroughly, and I was glad to see that somebody had written an article on it. But that's pretty much the overview for the day, and again, I hope you do enjoy what you find. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into it. First off, Metro Exodus is going to be an Epic Game Store exclusive for an entire year. Now, that being said, pre-orders on Steam will still be honored, but the game will not be on the platform again until 2020. PC gamers planning to explore the post-apocalyptic world of Metro Exodus will have to go through the Epic Games Store. Publisher Deep Silver announced today that the upcoming game will be available exclusively through the Epic Games Store at launch and will be pulled from Steam. The announcement is a major win for the Epic Games Store, which has been attempting to poach titles from its biggest competitor since launching just over a month ago. The announcement of exclusivity will likely come as a bit of a surprise for gamers. Up until today, Metro Exodus was available to pre-order through Steam, and those purchases will still be honored and available through Steam, as will future DLC. But Metro Exodus will otherwise be dropped from the platform entirely. The game can be made available through Steam and other digital storefronts starting February 14th of 2020, a full year after the game's initial release date. In a statement published on the Metro Exodus store page, Steam called the decision, quote, unfair and apologized to customers who were anticipating the game's release. The Epic Games Store has been snatching away any title that it can take from Steam in hopes of making a dent in the major game distributor's market share. Earlier this month, the Epic Games Store managed to entice Ubisoft to bring Division 2 to its platform, with future titles from the dev promised later this year. It also managed to net the final episodes of Telltale's The Walking Dead series after Telltale closed its doors. And again, Metro Exodus is just the next and one of the biggest wins so far for the Epic Games Store. And it's actually a pretty big shock for me to see Metro Exodus going ahead and making that leap. Because quite frankly, it just didn't seem like the kind of game that would go away from Steam. Now, before we jump into what I personally think about this entire situation, I want to talk about the Twitter reaction to what has been going on here with Epic Games, because pretty much every major reply, or at least the top 10 replies to the Metro Exodus announcement that it was going to be on the Epic Games storefront, was negative, overwhelmingly negative. People said they weren't going to be buying the game anymore. People said, why? You know, how could you betray us like this? And all of that good talk. But let me be very clear. Okay, if you are in the scenario, if you are in the footsteps, if you are in the shoes of a developer, and you have the opportunity to make more money by putting your game on another storefront that is literally on the same platform and literally accessible for free, why would you not do that? Okay, let me make that very incredibly clear, just so I can go ahead and put that down in an audible format, because I already said it very clearly on Twitter. It just makes sense by the numbers. That's what it comes down to. Now, with that being said, I have also seen reports that the game is going to be $10 cheaper on the Epic Games Store, meaning that they are literally giving back to the community because they have made this decision to make more money. Like, it's just good for you, and it's good for them, and it's just a big pile of good coming from this situation. It's just the next step towards getting rid of Steam as the primary way that we play games on PC. Now, I want to make it, again, very clear. There is no kind of, cost to entry when it comes to the Epic Games Store. You literally download the launcher and you just buy games through that, which, in my opinion, Epic Games Store is actually better than Steam and in many ways, including UI, because, of course, Steam's big UI refresh has not come in 2019 as we had all anticipated. But again, it is only January, so they still have plenty of time. With that all being said, if you did want to dive in on Metro Exodus on the PC, then you'd better go ahead and pre-order on the Epic Games Store, or if you are one of those stubborn people that continues to want Steam accessibility, then by all means you can still pre-order today, and after today the game is going to be locked up until February 14th of 2020, which, that blows my mind. That's only nearly a year away. Wow, future is here. With that being said, speaking of the future, you could be playing a handheld version of Assassin's Creed 3 very soon, and no, I'm not talking about Liberation on the PlayStation Vita. I'm talking about Assassin's Creed 3 coming to the Switch. Oh yeah. It has been some time since Ubisoft put an Assassin's Creed title on a Nintendo system in a non-cloud form. The French company made a stab at a mature-rated title in that ecosystem with Assassin's Creed 3 as well as Assassin's Creed 4 on the Wii U, but pretty quickly pulled out anything above a T rating shortly after the sales data came in. Since then, Ubisoft has kept to a more family-friendly title scenario on Nintendo consoles, including the Switch, but a retail listing suggests that might soon be changing. As discovered by the Nintendo Switch subreddit, some Czech retailers have put up a store page for a collection of Assassin's Creed 3 and Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation, the Vita follow-up that later got remastered for consoles. This follows up a listing in Germany's Media Market store chain that suggested an Assassin's Creed compilation would be coming to the Switch in the near future. Both games have been confirmed to be remastered for PS4, Xbox One, and PC, as well as part of Assassin's Creed Odyssey's Season Pass, though they will still be available for sale separately from the new game. Assassin's Creed 3 is even undergoing some improvements to its design in the remastering process, though Ubisoft has not detailed what those will be. It makes sense that Ubi would want to port the newly redesigned version to the Switch as well. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is technically available on the Switch via a cloud portal, but only in Japan, and Nintendo has not announced any plans to bring that service outside of their home country, and again, that kind of makes sense. With that being said, this is a massive win, and I think that this announcement, or at least this rumor, this suggestion, if you will, from the retail listing, proves that the Nintendo Switch is a different kind of Nintendo console entirely, because it can handle mature-rated games. It can handle these more adult-oriented experiences as compared to previous Nintendo handhelds and consoles as well. With Assassin's Creed 3, it's personally one of my favorite entries in the Assassin's Creed franchise. I love that Revolutionary War setting. I love early America, and I thought that Connor was one of the best assassins to ever be in the franchise, or at least take a spotlight in the franchise. But on top of that, Liberation, as I played it on my Vita, was not that bad either. So I would love to pick these up whenever they come out on PS4, but if you are a owner of a Nintendo Switch, then you might want to check them out on the newest Nintendo handheld/console hybrid, because I bet it's going to be a pretty solid experience. I mean, considering these games came out on the Xbox 360 and the PS3 and looked pretty good at that, I'm sure they're going to look fantastic and play very well on the Nintendo Switch. But could we be seeing more Assassin's Creed games coming in the future, whether they be ports or outright new releases? I suppose that probably depends on the performance of these new ports that are going to be coming to the Switch. But I'll give you guys a release date on that when I can, and of course, we'll talk about it on an episode of The Drop, the weekly series where I let you guys know what games are coming out every single week over on youtube.com/SamuelAdamsMedia. Always a good time, and always some brand new games coming out. With that being said, one of the games we talk about on The Drop every single October/November is Call of Duty, and guess what? It has been the best-selling console game franchise in the US for the 10th year in a row, officially, and as the author does point out, it's honestly not that surprising. The NPD Group has announced that Call of Duty was the best-selling console game franchise in 2018 in the US, marking the 10th year in a row that the series has earned the title. In celebration, Activision published a blog post that highlighted the best Call of Duty moments from the past decade, as well as a thanks to fans for playing. Quote, "We've been honored over the last 10 years to see the community come together, showcasing some truly incredible moments," Activision wrote. "Whether it's jaw-dropping skills, frenetic clips, strange word to use there, but hey, frenetic clips, or just some funny experiences, we're honored to serve the most passionate community around." The blog post ended with promises that there will be more Call of Duty to expect in 2019, but no exact details were shared. Activision's 10-year streak started in 2009 with Modern Warfare 2, the mother of all Call of Duty games. That wasn't in the article, but I thought I would go ahead and include that. Before moving on to Black Ops in 2010, the king of all Call of Duty games, and Modern Warfare 2 in 2011. They had a bit of a typo here. Modern Warfare 3 came out in 2011, and it's the single reason why I didn't have friends going into high school, because I spent that entire summer grinding the hell out of Modern Warfare 3, but I digress. That's what I'm here for. Don't worry about it. I'm a professional journalist. However, each following game setting would take place in the near to far future after that, before culminating in battles that take place in space in 2016's Infinite Warfare. 2017's World War II brought the series back to its World War roots, but again, Black Ops 4 once again moved the franchise back to the near future. Black Ops 4 is the first Call of Duty game to ditch a traditional single-player campaign, and instead, the game included Blackout, a battle royale mode that has proven to be very popular. That's debatable, but still, very massive game. Again, these games weren't necessarily the top-selling games in the US during the year of their release, although some of them could have been. Call of Duty in general has just been the best-selling franchise on consoles in the US for the past 10 years. If the established rotation for which developer is assigned for each Call of Duty continues in 2019, then Infinity Ward is up next. Although it's not been confirmed as a Call of Duty teaser, a tweet by Infinity Ward Senior Communication Manager Ashton Williams hints that the next game might be Modern Warfare 4. No concrete details have been announced for 2019's Call of Duty as of yet, officially. And of course, we've talked about Modern Warfare 4 and the potential for that game to come out in 2019 in previous episodes of the podcast, but essentially a couple of leaks have been discussing the potential of a Battle Royale mode that is similar in many ways to Blackout, where it does feature specific maps from previous Modern Warfare games, and of course specific characters as well that are significant for a lot of people in many people's minds. However, congratulations to Call of Duty and all of the companies behind the scenes that make this game a reality every single year, because as we see, you guys have been absolutely killing it, and for good reason. Call of Duty is the best shooter out there because, quite frankly, it is just a shooter to its core. It is, quite frankly, you pick up a controller and you shoot things on the screen. Now, of course, there are a couple of intricacies here, like the kill streaks and the perks and whatnot, but essentially, it is the quote-unquote best shooter because it is literally what a shooter is by definition, and that's why it continues to sell year after year. Of course, we see the same thing with Battlefield as it still maintains relevance. We see the same thing coming with games like Halo, where these games, all three that I mentioned, aren't necessarily the best shooters out there, but they are the best shooters because that's what people have come to expect from any kind of shooter. However, that's a big video for another day. People's expectations have been set by the past instead of what is to come in the future, and it's stifling innovation. However, again, if you were curious as to what the best-selling game on consoles in the US for the 10th year in a row was, it is in fact the Call of Duty franchise. Now, Resident Evil 2's remake is not doing too bad either. It is 3 times more popular than Resident Evil 7 on Steam. Simultaneous Steam players are well up. Capcom's remake of Resident Evil 2 appears to be doing well for itself on PC, already boasting more than 3 times the number of players of the previous mainline entry in the series, Resident Evil 7. As captured on Reddit, the remake has a current all-time peak of 74,227 players, which is almost 4 times the 20,449 that Resident Evil 7 managed over 2 years ago. Some success can probably be attributed to the much-discussed one-shot time demo, which showed off how damn nice it looks on PC. Monster Hunter World still eclipses Resident Evil's popularity on PC, though. A peak of over 300,000 players enjoyed that one at launch. And for reference, UK boxed console sales of RE2 are apparently 18% lower than RE7's launch, although That dip could be attributed to a number of factors, like console players becoming more comfortable ordering digitally. Again, a topic we've talked about on previous episodes of the podcast. But when it comes down to it, for me, what this means is that the nostalgia factor here is really driving this game, on top of the fact that it's gotten stellar reviews, and on top of the other fact that it's just a solid looking game. You know, this game just looks like it's one of the best games out there right now. It is just gorgeous. And of course, the gameplay itself is fantastic. I have popped into a couple of Twitch streams over the course of the past few days, but to be quite honest with you, I'm waiting for a bit to save a couple of bucks. But RE2, I almost said RE7 because it was on the brain. RE2, the remake, looks amazing. It's going to be one of the best games of the year, and it's a game from 1998 rebuilt from the ground up. So it's pretty safe to say, if you did want to dive in and give this one a shot, it is a very solid game across the board. I have heard no complaints whatsoever on the surface level of the social medias, but again, you could always wait for a price drop, or you could jump in with the other roughly 75,000 people that have played on PC so far, and of course, many, many more playing on PS4 and Xbox One as well. And again, those are all three platforms where the game is available. But you could be streaming it via Apple pretty soon, at least according to a report from Game Informer and other outlets as well, because Apple is considering game publishing and a subscription service. Despite being one of the leading voices when it comes to technology in the world, Apple has historically chosen to distance itself from gaming. The company will happily host games on their app stores, but rumors of consoles or development studios have always fallen flat in reality. According to a new report, however, Apple might have finally decided to dip more than their toes in the water in the form of a subscription gaming service and possibly even publishing deals. According to a report from the tech site Cheddar, 5 sources have indicated that Apple has been approaching developers about the idea of a subscription plan for games. The idea is to have something similar to Netflix but for games on Apple devices, where you have access to the titles as long as you stay subscribed. Apple has always paid some lip service to games on their platform, even enthusiastically having Nintendo's Miyamoto on stage at one of their conferences, but this would indicate they want to emphasize it as a selling point for their hardware. Analysts have suggested and do suggest that Apple may be eyeing a subscription service based on the success of things like EA Access, PlayStation Plus, and Microsoft's Game Pass as proven models. Additionally, 2 sources also told Cheddar that Apple is in talks with devs to act as a publisher for their games. With the company's considerable resources, they can make a powerful publisher, but it is likely they will stay in their own lane and merely publish games for their iOS devices. And this could be pretty massive. Of course, we all know the ubiquity of Apple devices. I mean, if you have an iPhone, you might have an iPad, and you might have an iWatch or an Apple Watch, whatever they call those things these days. And of course, as we all know, gaming has, as the article does say, never really been Microsoft's strong suit. I mean, look at how many games are compatible with a Mac when it comes to true gaming experiences. I mean, sure, you can play Fortnite, you can play a couple of other games here and there, but if you want something that's genuinely great, you are going to want to build a gaming PC that runs on Windows as compared to buying a top-tier Mac that runs on the iOS or the Apple OS. What is it called? Mac OS, I believe is what the official name of it is. But with all of that being said, what could the potential impact of an Apple streaming service be? I think it could be absolutely massive. Of course, I think that Microsoft, in my opinion, is going to be the big victor for the next generation of games when it comes to streaming services, because Game Pass has already become kind of ingrained in the gaming community and in gaming culture. When I think about successful streaming services, I think about Netflix and then I think about Game Pass. Like, it is a very, very successful program that they have been able to put together, even with the lack of, I guess, major adoption of the Xbox One over the past 5 roughly years. But if you are curious as to what your Apple device could be capable of going into 2019 and into 2020, you very well could be playing some pretty solid games. But the big question is, what kind of games are going to be on this subscription service? You know, you can't just sign an exclusivity deal with Call of Duty or with Fortnite or with any of these other big, massive games. You're going to have to be forced to play well with others, and that's going to be the big question in my mind going forward, is how does Apple see themselves in this specific scenario? Are they the leader or are they the member of a team? And that's pretty much what it comes down to. But again, I will keep you guys up to date as more information comes out about this report, which again is very recently published. So hey, brand new info for you guys here on the podcast. With that being said, over the past few weeks, you guys might have heard me talking a bit about Ring of Elysium, but it seems like the team behind the scenes is in a bit of hot water because a model has said that Tencent used her likeness without permission in Ring of Elysium. Mei Yan says her picture was photoshopped and used for the character Lin, and I must admit, she's got a point. This is clearly her. But Tencent has used model Mei Yan's likeness in its Battle Royale game Ring of Elysium without her permission. Yan, a Chinese-American model who runs a YouTube channel with more than 400,000 subscribers, said on Twitter that the company stole an image of her from several years ago, photoshopped it, and used it in their game for their character Lin. She posted screenshots of a trailer for Ring of Elysium's paid-for Adventurer Pass, which appears to have photoshopped different outfits onto Yan's original picture. It could be Yan as well. I'm not really sure how to pronounce these names. But again, if you're regular to the podcast, you'll know that already. But you can see the comparison shot below. The original is on the right, with the image used for Lin on the left, and the original was a professional photo taken while Yan was working with the brand Cat. And clearly, I mean, literally, this is a copy and paste from the pose to the eyes and like the hair. It is literally the exact same appearance, 100%. You cannot deny that, okay? But an edited headshot of Yan also appeared as an icon in the Adventurer Pass. All uses of the image, including the trailer, have now been deleted. I had no idea this was even happening, Yan said in an Instagram post. Do you like how I'm just saying it in different ways throughout this entire article? Yeah, it's pretty flattering and cool, not gonna lie, but at the same time, it's such a shady trick to pull, and it's ridiculous that it's gone this far. She told Kotaku that she's not sure how she'd like the issue to be resolved. My original goal, she says, was to bring some awareness. If more people can know about this, I guess that's all I can really ask for in this situation. People have been paying for this Adventurer Pass and are therefore paying to have access to this skin. I feel like in a way people have been deceived, and that's really, really not okay. End quote. A moderator on the Ring of Elysium subreddit claimed they were being told by the devs that an official investigation was conducted immediately and that the dev team would release an official statement once things are clarified. And of course, they have been reached out to over there behind the scenes, but nothing has come back as of yet. But this is without a doubt this chick's picture. I mean, when it comes down to it, you can't beat around the bush with this. This is her, without a doubt. Now, you can't throw the entire game and the entire development team under the bus because that would be unfair. What happened here is, in my opinion, there was one artist who was in charge of creating this Lin character, and he took literally just a picture of this other chick and photoshopped it a little bit and put it up in the game to save himself time and to really just show off a character model that would fit very well in Ring of Elysium, even though it is a real chick in the world that deserves a little bit of cash for the issues at hand. However, congratulations to Mei Yan or Mei Yan, whatever that name may be. You have struck gold because this game is pretty much run by Tencent. And guess what? Tencent's got some cash. So you're probably going to get paid very, very well. And congratulations for that. But I think it would be a really shitty thing for them to do if they went ahead and just pulled all likeness and didn't give any kind of compensation. Because obviously, a lot of people have been buying the Adventurer Pass. I bought Seasons 1 and 2, so I've spent $20. She deserves a couple of cents of that in my personal opinion. But I digress. I'm not the one calling the shots over there behind the scenes at Tencent or with the developers of Ring of Elysium. But if you did want to make some noise, again, you can take to social media or check out the official subreddit and see the conversation continue over there. And I'll let you guys know if she does get paid on a future episode of Caffeinate. Now, you might not be in a Ring of Elysium, but you might be playing some Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and that, my friends, could be a euphemism, depending on how you take it. But if you are actually playing on the Nintendo Switch, you better go ahead and log on, because the Piranha Plant code is going away, because you can get it for free right now. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate DLC gives us new characters to play with months after the game has released, with a total of 6 new fighters on the way. First up, or down the pipe, is Piranha Plant, who is free for everyone who bought the game ahead of January 31st, and that is this Thursday. And appears to be arriving as part of the Smash Bros. Update 2.0. After that, we have the Fighters Pass to look forward to, featuring another 5 characters that will be added to the game by February 2020. The February 2020, the one that's coming next year. But until all the DLC arrive, there are plenty of other Smash Bros. Ultimate characters to unlock, and once you have them, the tier list can help you decide who to play as over there on Eurogamer. But again, the Piranha Plant is a free download for anyone who buys Super Smash Bros. Ultimate before the end of January 2019, and again, that is this week. However, purchasing the game is not enough. Whether you buy it from retail or digitally from the eShop, you have to perform extra steps to get the Piranha code, specifically claiming your gold points from the Switch's menu screen. So if you bought on the eShop, then your points are claimed automatically, and your Piranha Plant code will be automatically emailed to the address registered with your Nintendo account. And if you bought physically, you have to insert the cartridge as you normally would when trying to play a game. Select the game icon on the Switch's game menu and press the plus button. Next, highlight My Nintendo Rewards program at the bottom and select Earn Points, the game card version only, and select the Nintendo account you want the gold points to be redeemed to. And of course, once you have your gold points, check the email address on your Nintendo account, and boom shakalaka, your Piranha Plant fighter code is here. So if you did want to dive in and play as the Piranha Plant, which again, I do not know the usefulness and the utility of the Piranha Plant within the game, but hey, it looks cool, and it's always been one of the coolest little parts of Mario in my opinion. So hey, for free, you might as well go ahead and dive in and get it if you've already paid for Super Smash Bros, because otherwise, you're literally laying a potentially useless fire out there on the on the table to rot or whatever. You need to water your Piranha Plant at least once a day. So, with that being said, let's talk about this Twitch streamer to round out today's show. Twitch streamer falls asleep and wakes up to 200 viewers. While the early days of Twitch were strictly focused to streaming video games, the Amazon-owned service has now ballooned into its own subculture. What was once a place to celebrate gaming is now a personality-driven business featuring individuals from all walks of life. As a result, some odd things can happen on Twitch, and usually do on a regular basis. Sometimes those instances are troubling, like witnessing domestic abuse live, while others are oddly heartwarming, like the below video of a streamer falling asleep. Jesse D Streams was streaming on Saturday night in the Just Chatting category, watching TV and eating. For about 2 hours this went on with no chat interaction, and then Jesse fell asleep and remained that way for another 2 hours. If I remember correctly, and I was watching live, it was roughly 3. When he awoke, Jesse discovered to his surprise that there were 200 viewers in his channel, and there is a clip entitled The Awakening. Again, let me repeat, in the Awakening, it is absolutely glorious, okay? So just to show you guys, it might be gone now. Oh, that's depressing. Come on, baby. I know you can do it. I can't show you. No, why are you buffering, man? That's rough. Anyways, since the event, the clip of Jesse D Streams waking up and seeing his active chat has generated over 1 million views, and his channel went from having a little fewer than 100 followers to over 1,000 in just one day. Whether that growth will continue is unlikely, but for at least a little bit, Jesse D Streams had his moment of fame. It is worth mentioning that falling asleep on stream is against Twitch's terms of service, but for right now, Jesse D Streams has not faced any sort of punishment. Thank God, because then the world would just be too dark a place. He's by no means the first person to fall asleep on stream, and he's not even the first to do so this week. But as we know, Twitch is rarely consistent when it comes to enforcing the rules. At the end of the day, it's a heartwarming clip to see Jesse D Streams glee at seeing an active chat after taking a brief nap. You have to admire someone for sticking with streaming even if it might get so boring that you fall asleep live. And again, I can show, I guess, potentially. It seems like all of the clips are broken right now on Twitch. But with that being said, absolutely hilarious. Okay, so I was watching this and I saw the clip as it began to get circulated on the live stream fails subreddit, and oh my gosh, this is the biggest hidden win. Like, this is hilarious to me. So again, the clip is going to be posted in the description box of the YouTube video, and hopefully Twitch is not taking it down, because that's really just sad if they did. But again, if you do want to give him a bit of a follow, you can always check him out over there on Jesse D Streams, and you could maybe watch him fall asleep again, or eat some lasagna, or watch Miami Vice, whatever you want to see him do. He does things over there. But with that being said, that rounds out today's episode of Caffeinate. If you did enjoy today's show, be sure to drop me a like down below if you are watching on YouTube. And of course, if you do want to join the show live, as it is recorded/streamed, you can head over to twitch.tv/TheSamuelAdams, and it's hosted live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. But I'll be back tomorrow for a brand new show. And until then, you have a fantastic night. Thank you, and peace.